gonna wait for a couple more people to come on and then we'll get started. Just make sure that you have your hair up. So I'm gonna put my hair up for this. My kitchen is kind of small, so we're gonna make it work. Okay, so make sure you have your hair up. You don't want to get your hair in the food. Okay, just wait a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. I have all my ingredients laid out here on the counter, so be prepared if you don't have any, because I'm gonna try and make it go a little bit quick just because we have a lot to cover tonight. For those of you who don't know, my name is Samantha, or Sam, and I work at the PSP. I work at the PSP location in Colwood at CPACs, and I do a lot of the programming there as well. So hopefully some of you will recognize me, but if not, then that's okay. If you haven't already, I already preheated my oven for the garlic bread, just to get it going a little bit quicker. But yeah, okay. For those of you who are on right now, can I just ask that you check in and just comment your name down at the bottom, just so we know who is watching our live streams and seeing who's interested. Also, you can, if you have any questions or comments, you can comment at the bottom as well, and I will answer them as quickly as possible. Therefore, because I can't see you, but if you have any questions, just let me know and pop them at the bottom. Other than that, I think we're almost ready to get started. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes, maybe just 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we will get started. Hi, Riley. I'm also curious to know how many kids are on here. I want to know how many kids are on here watching me cook, or if it's just the parents. Not sure, but let me know. So then we'll get started. We're gonna start at 6 p.m. I have already printed out my recipes as well, so if you haven't, that's totally fine. But I'm just gonna follow these because this is a little bit different for me today. Okay. How many more people come on, and then we will get started. Hopefully everyone is staying safe during their quarantine as well. Remember, 6 feet apart. My parents are downstairs because they're not allowed to be in this live stream. So hopefully everything's quiet and I'm speaking loud enough. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, Riley is 10. He's done cooking classes at CPAC before. That's awesome. The cooking classes at CPAC are definitely a lot more fun than watching me do a live stream. But this is all we got right now, so we're making it work. Okay, until 6 o'clock, and then we will get cooking our spaghetti. That's what we're gonna start off with. We're gonna start off with our spaghetti. Just a heads up, I will probably have to move my phone around quite a little bit. This is one station, and then the stove is behind me. I'll bring my phone over there as well. For those of you that are still popping in, just make sure you comment your name and check in so we know who's in our live stream. And yeah, okay. So, first off, we're gonna start with our spaghetti sauce with our ground beef. I'm gonna be using ground pork just personally because I don't like ground beef, and this is my dinner, so here we go. So I have already defrosted my package of ground beef. And the first thing that you're gonna do, I'm gonna take it over here. First thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna start it in your pan. You're gonna turn it on, probably about like 4 or 5, okay? And I'm gonna set it up right here. And all you do is you just dump it in the pan. Just stick it in there, let it cook. If it's a little bit juicy, then that's fine. It looks kind of gross doing that, but that's okay, okay? Put it in the sink. Make sure you wash your hands after you touch raw meat too, because otherwise it's gonna be gross. And you don't want to contaminate any other food whatsoever. I'm also going to be breaking it up in the pan as well, just so that it can cook a little bit. So I put it over here. Hopefully that works. And you just break it up in the pan. If you want, you can add a little bit of oil to the pan to make it a little bit less sticky. I'm not going to be doing that just yet. I'm going to let it cook a little bit, and because it's still a little bit frozen, but that's okay. I'm going to make sure it's all nice and mushed up, because then when we add our other ingredients, it will mix really well together. Make sure it's all broken up. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, then I'm sorry. Okay, so I've broken up all my meat. The next step is to cut up our veggies and things that we're going to be putting in here. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit so it starts cooking. Okay, and then we're going to come over here, and if you look at your recipe, it says that we need to combine our beef, onions, garlic, and green peppers in a large saucepan. So that's what I'm using right now. I'm using a pretty large saucepan. I already have my meat in there. I'm gonna add my onions, my garlic, and my green peppers now. Hopefully you can see my hands. I think you can. I'm gonna start cutting the green pepper just because onions and garlic are kind of stinky and they're not the greatest to smell sometimes. Just be careful you don't get any in your eyes, otherwise you might start tearing up. I might, I don't know, I hope not. Okay, so the way I cut my peppers is I turn them upside down so that the stem on the top is at the bottom, and I just slice off a little side, hoping I don't hit the middle. If it's okay, if you hit the middle, it's fine. I'm gonna be using 2 small sides of my green pepper. You can choose to use as much green pepper as you want. Once you have a flat side, you can put it on the flat side and just cut off another chunk. And this is how much green pepper I will be using tonight. Just because parents don't like green pepper. I do. Gotta respect them. So I'm the cooker tonight. Okay. The next thing I use is I use a spoon to scoop out all of the seeds and stuff in the middle, just so I don't cut my fingers. So you can just easily, or maybe not this one. You can kind of scoop out the middle and break it off a little bit. Okay. So you can see the seeds. Break off. And if you want, you can rinse out the extra seeds so that you don't have too much of the extra stuff. I'm just going to scoop this to the side so I have a little bit more room. So these seeds are going everywhere. Okay, next thing is I'm going to cut up my green pepper after I've washed it and taken out the seeds. So the inside should probably look like this. No seeds, no nothing. I'm going to be dicing my green pepper. You can cut it however way you want. Some people might like it sliced, some people like big chunks, but I'm going to be cutting it so it's about this big. So the way I cut my green pepper is I go vertically first, so I'm going to be cutting it like this. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it and just dice it like that. Okay, make sure that if you are cutting, if the kids are cutting, make sure that your parents are watching you. If not, then please don't cut yourself. Yeah, just don't do that. Okay, so my pieces, as you can see, are about this big, not super big. Just gonna cut the other half now. Now, when you make the spaghetti sauce, you don't have to put all the ingredients that I use. Like, you can use other things if you want as well. I'm just going with what the recipe calls for, since I have never made this before. Well, this recipe before. Okay, so now I have my green peppers on the side. I'm just gonna grab a container to put them in. So I'm gonna have a little bowl, and I'm just gonna put all my green peppers in here so that it's easier to dump into the pan with my meat. Okay. Okay, next up I'm gonna use some onion. I've already used a little bit of this onion, so I'm gonna be using the rest of it. You can use a whole onion if you want, or you can use a smaller one. It's up to you. For the onion, I like to use a little bit of a bigger knife just so I can chop it up a little bit more, because some people don't like chunky onions, and personally, I don't either. So for this one, you might need an adult supervision, or just get the adults to do it, because this knife is a little bit bigger. Might not want to do that at home. Sometimes if your onion is a little bit gross on the outside, you can just peel off that part, but this one's totally fine. So I'm gonna put it flat down, and I'm just gonna cut it so that I get nice, simple chunks. Now, you probably are wondering why my fingers aren't curled. I do have acrylic nails, so I have a little bit of space to not cut my fingers. But please make sure that when you're cutting, you make sure you have your fingers away from the knife so that you don't cut off your fingers, because that would be very bad. And then I'm just gonna chop it up. Kind of chop it up however way you want. If you have any questions, again, please comment at the bottom, and I will answer them as quickly as possible. Hopefully it's not too annoying of a sound when you're listening to this, but it'll be what it'll be. Okay. So as you can see, it's kind of pretty much all chopped up. Don't really need to do anything more. If you cut up your onions too much, they might burn in the pan with your meat, but this is kind of what they look like. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm also going to scoop them and just add them to my green peppers. You can use the knife or you can use a spoon. It's a lot easier sometimes when you use a knife because they just kind of sit on the knife like this. So yeah. Okay, I'm just going to throw the extra stuff in my sink right now so we have lots of space to do the garlic. Because the garlic is the part where if you cut it too big, it's just going to be really overpowering and you're not going to have much flavor throughout the whole dinner. Okay. So I'm only going to use 2 cloves for the sauce. Okay, so on this I have my whole thing. You just kind of smash it or break it off, whatever you want. So I'm breaking off 2 pieces of garlic. You can use however much you want. If you like garlic, then use a lot. Okay, and then the way you break garlic is, honestly, I'm just going to rinse off my knife quickly from the onion. I use the same knife just because it's not meat, so you can just rinse it off and it'll be totally fine since you're cooking everything in the same pan. So the way I do it is I just smack it. It's going to be a little bit of noise, I'm sorry. Okay, but you want to smack it so that it breaks apart like this so that it's easier to peel. So all this stuff that's coming off right now is just peeling off because you smack it. It's kind of the fun part about peeling garlic. Okay, I'm just going to smack the other one. I'm sorry. Oh. There we go. Okay. So as you can see again, it just easily peels off. Super, super good. Okay, just like that. Easy. It will make your hands smell, so I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna put all those extra stuff into my sink so I have more space. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is take a smaller knife and cut off the little ends of the garlic here because sometimes it's just, you don't really want to eat a stem. Why would you want to eat a stem? Okay, so I'm just going to cut off a tiny little bit so I don't waste too much of the garlic here. Okay. Okay, and then next up is I'm going to use a smaller knife again. I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, just cut them in half so that they're a little bit easier to chop. I'm going to use my bigger knife and just go along and chop it up. Okay, you want to make sure that it gets really, really small. Because if you have like super big chunks, it's just not going to taste the greatest, as I already said. Hi, Jordan! So, the garlic is all done, just like that, okay? And then once again, I'm just going to scoop it. I'm going to add it into my little container here with my green onions and my onions. Or not green onions, green peppers. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to take you guys back over here where my meat is. It's sizzling nice and easy. Okay. You want to make sure that you stir it up. Okay. Make sure it's broken up quite a bit. Before you add in your vegetables, please make sure that your meat is cooked because sometimes when you add vegetables into raw meat, then it just doesn't go as well, and sometimes it contaminates, but usually you're okay. But in this case, please do not add vegetables if your meat is still uncooked. So mine is still a little bit pink, but we can add some spices in the meantime. Okay, so breaking it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be adding some herbs into this. So the spices I'm going to use are oregano, mixed herbs, and salt and pepper. If you have any other spices that you like, if you want to make it spicy, hi Zachary. If you have any other spices that you want to add, then feel free to, whatever your taste buds want. I'm just kind of doing what I was told to do, and hopefully it tastes okay. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to add some spices to it. Got my salt and my pepper. Okay, so these are the ones I'm going to use. I have a Italian blend. I'm going to use Italian blend. Okay. As much as you want in it. When you're making a tomato sauce, though, you typically don't want to add a lot of salt because tomatoes, like the tomato sauce, is already really salty. So if you cook with salt, then that's totally fine, but it may go a little bit too salty. So if that happens, my trick for getting rid of a little bit of salt is just adding some sugar. So if you add some sugar, it actually cuts down the salt factor. So it's not super overpowering. I'm just adding some basil right now. I had oregano before. Okay, and I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper in now. Okay, mix it all up. Oh, it smells pretty good. Okay, so my meat is pretty much cooked. So I'm now going to add in my green peppers, my onions, and my garlic. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit because I don't want my onions and my garlic to burn, because they do burn quite easily. So I'm just going to dump this in. Okay. So hopefully, I'm just going to turn it around so that you guys can see it. So hopefully it ends up looking like this. Super yummy. You just mix it all in. Okay. We'll let it cook for just a little bit. And then we can add in the tomato sauce and tomato paste as well, and the diced tomatoes. I am going to be switching to a pot for that because my pan isn't super big. So if you want to keep it in your pan, go for it. But I'm going to switch to a pot so that it doesn't spill over and make a huge mess. That's just how I'm going to do it. Okay. For this recipe as well, you don't need to pre-boil your pasta. You actually cook the pasta. See, that's why I'm going to switch it to a pot, because I just spilled some on the ground. For this recipe, you don't need to pre-cook your pasta. You actually end up cooking the pasta in your sauce so that the pasta just soaks in all those juices from the meat and from the sauce as well. Okay? Smells pretty good. Okay. So I'm just going to get out a pot right now so that it is ready to go for when we need it. It's a little bit loud, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, it's not the greatest spot for a pot. Okay. In the meantime, while that's cooking still, we are now going to move on to our garlic bread so that we can get that started, because garlic bread is super yummy and you never want to forget that. So I'm just going to rinse off my cutting board here and just dry it off and wash it. Okay. And you also want to make sure that you have a working bread knife if you want, or because I'm going to need one because I literally bought a whole loaf of bread and don't know how I'm going to eat it all, but we're just going to go for it. So in this recipe, it says that you will need butter, Parmesan cheese, more garlic. It has a bunch of different spices. You can choose what you want. I personally don't have all the spices on this list because they were really hard to find during quarantine. But I do have basil, I have oregano, and I do have fine herbs, so that's what I'm going to be using. I don't have parsley. I also don't like parsley, so I'm not going to be using it. But feel free to use it. you're also going to be doing, you also need an unsliced Italian bread. I think this is Italian bread. I couldn't find anything in Walmart because it was just so busy. So we're going to go with the white loaf that I have. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my Parmesan cheese from my fridge. Okay, I went out and I bought pre-grated Parmesan cheese because grating cheese just takes forever. Hi, Hannah. And I didn't want to waste any time cooking with you guys. So I've already preheated my oven. So if you haven't done that, please do so now. Preheat it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, on bake. And then I'm gonna grab a bowl. So in this bowl right here, which I have right here, you're gonna mix together your butter, your Parmesan cheese, your garlic, and your spices until it's fully combined, okay? Then when you've mixed all of that stuff together, you're gonna take out your loaf, okay? And you're gonna cut it lengthwise. So down the middle here. So when you cut your bread, you're gonna have it on the ground like this, and you're gonna cut it like this. Please don't try and do it like this. It's not gonna work. Don't do it like this. You're just gonna cut yourself. Have your hand on the top. Make sure you're going flat all the way through so it's lengthwise, because then we're gonna spread our butter mixture on the inside and bake it. So it's gonna be super, super good. So I'm just gonna leave this out for now. Okay. So I have my butter here in a container already. And it says that we need half a cup of butter. Okay, so I actually have a butter measure. So I'm just gonna estimate how much butter you need. You can kind of just guess. So I'm just gonna scoop some in the bucket or in the bowl and then add the rest of the stuff, okay? So for half a cup of butter, I'm probably gonna use about that much, maybe a little bit more, because my dad likes it super buttery, okay? Oh, I just wanna, there we go. Just tiny little bit more. If you have extras left over, it's also really good on toast. So if you just make, if you just put it on your bread before you put it in the toaster, it's super good. I personally love garlic bread. I love it. Okay. The next thing that you're gonna add is your Parmesan cheese. So I'm gonna open this. It just says tear here, so I'm just gonna tear it here. See if that works? Okay. And then you need a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. If you want to put more cheese in it, go for it. I'm kind of a cheesy kind of girl, so I'm going to put more in. I'm going to dump it in the cup. Make sure you do it over the bowl, because then if you make a mess, then it just goes in the bowl. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup and a little bit, because I love cheese. Okay? And then you're going to zip it back up and make sure you put it back in the fridge so that you have more space to work on some things. As you're cooking, or as you're making your butter mixture, please make sure that you also check on your meat as well, because you don't want to overcook the vegetables inside of it. Otherwise, it's going to be a big no-no, and it's not going to be real good. Okay? Make sure you just give it a little bit of a stir. Okay? Okay, your next step is to grab more garlic, and we're going to add it into the mixture. So I'm just going to put it over here for now. And we're going to take up some more garlic. Okay. I'm only going to use 2 cloves again. If you want to use more for extra garlic taste, then go for it. Okay. But then again, we're going to do our smack-a-rooney job, and we're just going to smack them. Sorry again for the noise. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. You smack it, and it automatically peels off. Okay. Just like this. Okay. Just like that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. Okay, and you peel it off again. Oh, this one doesn't want to come off. Yes, it does. Okay, we're good. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky with me, but it's okay. Okay, almost off. Come on now. There we go. Okay. Then again, you want to cut off the tips of your garlic because you don't want to eat the stems of it. So I just put it in my sink. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Next, you want to cut them up again. Give them a little bit of a slice. Okay. And then you want to chop them up make them nice and small because you're gonna be eating this on bread. So if you have really big chunks and you just get a big chunk of garlic in your mouth, it's not gonna be the yummiest. Okay. Just gonna check on the time here. Perfect. Okay. After this is done and everything's cooking, I will also be making chocolate chip cookies with you guys. I'm going to be showing you how to make the mixture only because if I do everything, it's just not going to be in our time frame that we have. So I'm going to make the mixture with you, and then all you have to do is just put them in the oven and bake them. And it's a super yummy treat for later. Maybe dip in ice cream after, or milk and cookies. Okay, I'm going to make this garlic super small because I don't want it to be crazy garlicky. Okay, I think that's good enough. Okay, next thing is I'm going to put it into my bowl with my butter and my Parmesan cheese. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop it up with my knife and just plop it in there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. Put this over here. We have more room. Give my hands a little bit of a rinse. They're all sticky from the garlic. Okay. Okay, next thing is you are going to add your spices. So I'm going to grab my spices from over here again. Make sure you give it a quick stir again. Make sure it's all cooking up nice and good. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to be using oregano and the Italian seasoning and a little bit of pepper. Just because that's how I like it. Okay, got my oregano. This is a super handy grinder. It's okay if you drop the cap. It's fine. Just pick it up, keep going. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. Put the cap back on. Oh, this doesn't want to come off. There we go. Okay, add some Italian seasoning, or whatever you have, whatever you choose, doesn't matter. And I'm also going to be putting a tiny little bit of basil in, or a lot. That's fine. Okay. Next step is you are going to stir it up. I'm going to be using a mini spatula because then it's super easy for me to spread onto the bread. And then I don't want to, oh. Just kidding, I'm not going to be using a mini spatula. I'm going to be using a spoon. Okay, I'll use the spoon I scoop the butter with. Okay, mix it all together. My butter's kind of hard. Make sure your butter's soft, otherwise it's just going to be really hard to stir as this looks right now. You want to make sure that all the Parmesan cheese and the spices get mixed into the butter and are super just combined and squished and all mixed together. Otherwise, you can have a bunch of loose flakes flying off your bread. Okay. So as you can see, mine's kind of already stuck together. It's a little bit chunky, but the more you spread it around, the more the butter will soften. Aw, hi David, hi James. I miss everyone so much. I miss camps, I miss programming. But this is what I got right now. So I had the honor of doing this, and I feel so happy to do it. Hopefully everything's going okay at your homes. And make sure everyone stays safe as well. Okay, so I have my butter mixture all good to go. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to put my spoon in my sink because I don't need it anymore. This is what I'm going to be using to spread on my bread, though. So I'm going to put this to the side, and then the next step is to cut your bread. So I'm going to put it onto my cutting board after I rinse it off. And I do have a bread knife, so I'm going to be using that. It's kind of larger. So the next thing that you're going to do is, again, oh, excuse me. Okay. You're going to put your hand on the top, and you're just going to do it sideways. So hopefully this goes as planned and doesn't mess up. Oh, it's nice and soft on the inside. Okay, and if you want, you can turn it around so you can do the other side, hopefully, if that works. Okay. There we go. Okay, make sure you get all the sides covered. Perfect. Okay, once you have that, you're kind of just gonna split it in half so that you have your 2 halves, okay? And then you're gonna take your butter mixture and you're just gonna spread it all in here. Just give it a whirl. Spread your whole butter mixture into this log of bread. Okay, it might be easier to use a knife for you, but I'm gonna use a spatula just so it has more of a spready thing on the end of it, whatever you use a spatula for. Okay? I'm gonna put it on both sides as well, just so that it is equal. Okay, this is a lot of butter. But who knows? Okay, so one side is done as I've spread it all on here. Okay, I'm gonna use the other side. This bread's also really soft, so it might be kind of hard to see, but it's like so soft that it's like coming up and like mixing with the butter. Okay. Okay. It's kind of, this one's a bit tricky. Okay. Hopefully I'm getting stuff all over me now. Okay. Once I have everything spread it. Again, you don't have to use all of it. I'm just going to use all of it. But if you don't, then put it in your fridge and save it for later. Okay. I'm going to put some more, get all the stuff out of the bowl. Okay. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to put it on a rack into the oven. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I have a pan already. And I have I'm gonna get, what I use is, I use a cooling rack that's metal, and I put them on my baking pan so that it's a little bit of a rack, so if anything falls, it just goes onto the pan. Just because I don't want to make a huge mess in my oven right now, okay? So as you can see, I've put it in my pan. I'm not going to put any parchment paper underneath it. I'm just going to wash the pan after, but if you don't want to wash the pan, put some parchment paper underneath it, or tinfoil, or whatever you want. Just don't put plastic in the oven. Please don't put plastic in the oven. Okay, and I'm going to put my garlic bread onto the pan like this. I'm going to throw it in the oven, and then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. Okay? Okay. Hopefully, let's see if this works. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so that's what's gonna look like in your oven. My oven is a little bit dirty. Don't mind it, it's all good. Okay, make sure you check on your little pork thing here, okay? Oh, there we go. Apparently I accidentally rotated my phone. Okie dokie, so keep cooking up your pork or your beef or whatever you're using, and your green peppers, onions, and garlic, okay? And then we're gonna go back over here, and the next thing you're gonna do is you are going to open up your cans of tomato sauce, okay? Because we want to get that started now, otherwise it's gonna take a little bit for it to cook with your noodles. If you want to boil pasta, go for it, just so you can have dinner earlier or whatever you want, okay? Make sure you clean up your space so that everything is clear-ish, okay? I'm just gonna drink some water because I'm tired. It's getting kind of hot in here. Okay, so the next part you're gonna do is you're gonna open your cans of diced tomatoes. Okay, your sauce. I'm gonna use a garlic and onion sauce today, and your tomato paste. I'm also gonna put 2 cans of tomato paste in because the more tomato paste you put in, the thicker it will be. Okay, but I'm only gonna do 1 to start to make sure, like, to decide if I want to do another one or not. Okay, so I'm also going to bring these. I'm gonna open these now. Okay. When I open cans, I don't open it so that it goes this way. I open it so it opens the whole top. I don't know why I do it that way, but if I can, there we go. It's just a lot easier. Okay. Ow. It's fine. This is why you don't get acrylic nails. Because every time you stub your finger, they jam. Okay. So now that I have this on, I'm just going to take it. Uh-oh. Don't do this. Don't do this. Okay? But now my finger really hurts because I jammed it. Ow. Okay, so this is my can of tomatoes. It's open. I'm going to put that to the side over there. Okay. Owie. Okay, I'm going to open up my can of tomato paste now. Hopefully I don't jam my finger again. Okay, I'm going to put that in the sink. So I get my tomato paste, and I'm going to open, if I can open it. Okay, apparently I can't open this jar. Okay. Let's try and open it again. Okay, I'm gonna go get my dad to open the jar, and then I'll be back. Just don't leave. Now that I can open the jar, because my dad helped me, may need help with that. Okay. Sorry about that. Apparently, I didn't realize how tight a jar was. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add everything into this pot. Okay. It's not on heat right now. It's a complete cold pot. I'm just going to add everything to it so you can see it. I'm out of breath from running up the stairs. Okay. If you want, you can get a little bit of a shake. I want to get all that stuff out of there. We're going to set out later. Okay. And then I'm going to add your tomatoes. Apparently that splashed on me a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, and then you're going to add your tomato paste. Okay. I'm going to use a spoon because I know it's not going to come out if I do this. Because it's really thick and doesn't like to come out. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I got most of it out. Don't want to waste any. Okay. Put that in the sink and then make sure that you got nothing on the side. And then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, not these, those are for the pasta. I'm going to grab another spatula and I'm just going to stir it all up to make sure that it's all mixed together before I add my meat mixture. Okay. You can also add some spices into this as well. I'm not going to be adding any salt into the tomato paste or the tomato sauce, I mean, because tomato sauce automatically has a lot of salt. I did add the diced tomatoes with the no salt added. I added those ones because, yeah. Okay, my Italian seasoning and some oregano is what I'm going to be adding. Okay. Also make sure you check on your bread so that it doesn't burn. I'm going to do that now. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit so that I don't burn it. So it's just going to be staying warm while the whole pasta thing cooks. That way you don't burn your bread. Or if you want, you can just choose to put your bread in later, like when this is actually close to done. Okay, so now I'm going to be switching you guys over. I'm just going to quickly move this. You won't see me for about 2 seconds, I'm sorry. Okay. Alright. So, here's what we're going to do, is I'm going to put you guys right here. Hopefully you can see me. And I'm going to add my mixture to my pot, because I have a lot of it, apparently. Okay. So once that's all in there, if you don't want the grease in the pot, just feel free to dump out a little bit of grease before you put it in there. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the sink. Add some water on it. Okay. And then hopefully you can see this. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna mix everything together. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do for this video is I'm gonna end up boiling pasta because I know that my parents are hungry and I only have a little bit of time left. So, but for those of you who eat later, you actually put your pasta into the sauce and you let the pasta cook in the sauce. But I think I might boil it. I haven't decided yet. I think I might. No, I'll just put it in. I'll just put it in. It's fine. Okay. I'm turning up my heat a little bit so it cooks a little bit faster. Okay. Then I'm gonna grab my pasta. Okay. And I had one of these cool handy dandy containers that has a 1 and a 2 on it. You can't really see it. The 1 is for a 1-person portion and the 2 is for a 2-person portion. So I'm gonna be putting 2 of the 2-person handle things, and yeah, the 2-person portion. I think this is like a mixture of like spaghetti and fettuccine. Because I don't have other pasta. Okay, hopefully it comes out. Yeah, it is a mixture of spaghetti and fettuccine, okay? I'm just gonna stick my pasta in there. Make sure you like spin it all around, make it look cool, okay? Okay, hopefully this works. If not, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, just spread it out and it'll eventually soak in for a little bit more. Uh-oh. Ah! Okay, so now we have a super cool spiky spaghetti mess. This will be super fun to make with your kids if they want to see a pot blow up with spaghetti. I'm just kidding, it's not going to blow up. Okay. I'm going to bring you guys back over here because as this is cooking, we are now going to move on to our cookies. So like I said, I'm going to be making the dough with you, but I trust you guys and you guys can cook them yourself. Also because our bread is in the oven, so that's just how it's going to be. Okay? So first thing you want to do is you want to grab 2 bowls that you can use, so one for the dry ingredients and one for the non-dry ingredients, okay? So let's grab my recipe here, that's over here. Cool. Alright, so in this recipe, we're going to be needing butter, white sugar, brown sugar, 2 eggs, vanilla, baking soda, hot water, obviously, salt, flour, chocolate chips, and optional is walnuts. I do not like nuts in my chocolate chip cookies, so I will not be putting walnuts in them. But if you want to make them semi-healthy, then go for it. Thanks, Jordan. I miss you guys too. Okay? Yeah, so cookie time, okay? So the first ingredient is 1 cup of butter. I have another pound of butter sitting right here. I'm going to be using my butter measurer because it's a lot easier. Okay? So I'm going to move this over here for now. Okay, I'm just going to put it on my thing. Make a little mark. Boop. Okay, and then I'm done. And all I have to do is take a butter knife, cut it in half. For those of you who don't know, half of a pound of butter is a cup. 1 pound of butter is 2 cups. So this is how we're gonna be doing it. Okay, put it in a bowl, then you're good. Okay. I'm gonna wipe off my hands, so buttery. Okay. Next thing is, oh, apparently I didn't print off all the directions, but that's okay because I know how to make cookies. You're gonna add your white sugar into the butter and beat it, or like I'm gonna hand beat it, unfortunately, because I don't have a hand mixer. But if you have a hand mixer or a big mixer, use that because it'll go by way faster. So I'm gonna add my sugar to the mixture, and then end up whipping it with a wooden spoon. Because muscles, right? I'm sure all of you saw my lovely catalog photo that all of my colleagues picked for me. So, So we're gonna add 1 cup of sugar, of white sugar. Okay, hopefully this fits into my container. Okay. If you want, you can take another knife and just file it off, but I just kind of shake it because sugar is pretty good with that. You can dump it in. Okay. Make sure you put the lid back on so that you don't drop it. Okay. Check on your pasta. Maybe push it in a little bit. Okay. It'll cook eventually, I hope. Okay. Next thing you're gonna do is just mush it up. Just smush it, smush, smush. You want to make sure that your butter, make sure you kind of cut it up a little bit, because otherwise that will happen. You also want to make sure that your butter is super soft, otherwise this is going to be a very, very long process. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. Okay. Kind of just mush it on the sides a little bit. Okay. And this is making me sweat a little bit. I'm gonna wash my hands and use my hands because this wooden spoon's not working. Okay, so you can use your hands if you want. By the end of it, you're gonna end up using your hands to make the balls of cookie dough anyways, so make sure you wash your hands really, really well. And then I'm gonna mush it. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay. I'm only going to be using my knuckles though, not my fingertips, so that way it will need the butter as well. Okay? So as you can see, it's getting a little bit more mixed together, which is what we want. So by the end of it, you want to see like that smooth reaction for the butter. You can, whether you're using a mixer or your hands or a wooden spoon, whatever you want. But that's what you want, and then just keep doing that for a couple more minutes. Make sure it's mushed together. Okay. Okay, this is how I improvise when I don't have a hand mixer. Okay, so then you just want to wipe up all the extra butter. Once everything's mixed together, it should be super creamy. If you want their cookies to be chewier, make it creamier. If you don't, then it's fine like this. Okay. Wash my hands again, get all that butter off there. Okay. I'm gonna dry my hands. Okay. If your spaghetti's not working, I apologize. I decided to follow the recipe and not boil the pasta first. So, but that's what it says. It says not to boil the pasta, so, okay. So the next step you want to do is you want to add your brown sugar as well and mix that. Because it's already smooth, it'll be easier to mix. So I'm going to add my brown sugar. Oh, I'm also going to turn this down a little bit. I'm just going to break my pasta. Maybe it'll cook faster. Okay. Yeah, we're going to break it. There we go. That's kind of in the pot more. Okay. Hopefully that works. Okay. Got my brown sugar here. Make sure you also check on your bread. Mine's still cooking, so it's good. I turned it down to 150 degrees just because everything else that's going on is just so stressful. And I, of course, don't want to burn the garlic bread. So you also need a cup of brown sugar. If you want to cut down the sugar, only do a half cup just because there already is a lot of white sugar in here. So I'm just gonna go. You want to pack in your brown sugar too, because it's not the best. Sometimes you gotta like really like scoop it in there. Okay, there we go. This is a good one. And you just pack it in there, and just run your finger on the top. Okay, and just dump it in. Okay, I'm gonna rinse off my hands again because they're all sticky. Realizing now that it is almost 7 o'clock. Okay, I'm gonna put the lid on this and hopefully finish this cookie stuff super quick. If not, you have the recipe, and I'm sure everyone has made chocolate chip cookies before. Okay, I'm also now gonna add my eggs. 1 egg, 2 eggs. Okay, put that in the sink. Wash your hands with the eggs. Okay. I'm also gonna add my vanilla. I don't measure vanilla because I love it. So, oh, this one. Okay. Apparently I have to open it, so I'm gonna open it. Not a big deal. Super easy to open, unlike spaghetti sauce. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick it in. So it's 2 teaspoons. So I'm just gonna roll it in there. Yep. Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, 1, 2. If you over measure, whatever, it's just vanilla flavoring. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna add is baking soda. Make sure I have baking soda. You also need a teaspoon of that as well. Because mine's wet and I don't really want to wash it right now, I'm just gonna do 2 half teaspoons. Okay. So hopefully, I don't know. That's not gonna. Okay, 1. Apparently he doesn't want to scoop. 2. Okay, that's 1 teaspoon. Okay, next thing's next. You want to add your water as well. I can use the teaspoon one. Okay, it's 2 teaspoons of hot water. Okay. So, 1, 2. Okay, I'm not going to be adding any salt into the cookies just because I don't like salt. Actually, yeah, why not? Well, a little bit of salt. Don't put too much, just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, make sure you give your pasta a little bit of a stir. Hopefully this works. This is probably the messiest cooking job I have ever done. But you know what? That is okay. Okay, next thing you're gonna add is you're gonna add your flour. I'm gonna mix this all up and add my chocolate chips to this mix, and then I'm gonna add my flour. Just because due to time, I do have to end the live. Hopefully we have time to add the flour. Okay, so I'm gonna stir this all up with my wooden spoon. Make sure everything is mixed together. Okay, apparently it's a workout when you do this. Okay, so once you have mixed everything, it should be kind of like a brownish goop mess thing. You want to make sure it's super smooth though. Give it a couple more turns. Okay. Oh, no, my arm hurts. Okay. Then you're gonna add chocolate chips. I already measured my chocolate chips, so I'm just gonna dump them in. If you want extra chocolatey cookies though, add more chocolate chips. So I'm gonna be adding mini ones as well. because I love chocolate. Okay. Let's see, I'm just gonna do like 1/3 of a cup, I think. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. Okay, so once you have those, you're gonna mix everything up again, and then you're gonna add your flour. Okay, so mix all your chocolate chips up. There's a lot of chocolate in here. Okay. Make sure you only add 1 cup of flour at a time, otherwise it'll be super, super hard to stir. Okay? So I do have my flour here. I'm gonna make sure I stir this some more. Go in the... Okay, apparently I should have used a bigger pot, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm also gonna put a lid on it so it stops splattering everywhere. Okay. 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 Next, we're gonna add our flour. So we are going to be adding 3 cups of flour. Okay, wherever I put my, there it is. Okay, my little scooper is hidden in here. Okay, put that over there. I am gonna be leveling this off with a butter knife. Okay, 4 minutes, and then we're good. Okay, so hopefully everything is working out for everyone at home. I have never made spaghetti, garlic bread, and cookies in an hour. So thank you for participating with me, okay? Stay tuned for the next week, because next week, I don't know what we're making. It's in my phone, but you'll know what it is, so it's okay. So once you have your first cup of flour stirred in, just make sure, stir it all up. If you're using a mixer, maybe pour the flour in a little bit slower so that you don't make a huge mess like I'm making right now. Okay? And kids, if you're making this too, please make sure you clean the kitchen for your parents after, okay? Because they don't want to clean it up. You get to eat the cookies, but you gotta clean up the kitchen, okay? Because I made this big mess and I gotta clean it up, so you should too. Okay. 1 cup of flour in so far, okay? We're gonna add our 2nd cup of flour. I'm gonna level it off. Okay, tap it in there. Pour it in there, and we're good. Okay? And then, oh, see? Making messes all day long, okay? That's what I do. Okay, as I have flour everywhere, at this point, if it gets really doughy, you can just use your hands. I'm trying not to because it's really sticky. Okay. Okay, last cup of flour, and then I'm gonna end the live stream, unfortunately. But thank you all so much for watching, and please make sure you come back next week because I have more exciting, fun things to do. And if you have any suggestions for what I can do better, please leave it in the comments. I would love to improve. This is my very first time doing a live stream ever. So if I can do anything better, please let me know. And yeah, so hopefully your dinner is good. Because I don't know what mine will be, but hopefully yours is. Also, don't forget about your garlic bread in the oven. It's so good. Okay? Mine's not done yet because I turned down the heat a lot. But if yours is, perfect. Okay? Also, when you're making these cookies, make sure you roll them into balls and then place them at least like this far apart. Otherwise, you're just going to mush all together and it's just not going to be very good. I'm going to have one monster cookie unless you want to make a giant cookie. Okay? So, I think it's time. But thank you all so much for cooking with me. And I have to clean up the kitchen a lot because I made a huge mess. But stay tuned for next week. Okay? Peace.